That's probably better. Yeah, that's probably better. Anyways, let's get out of here. I don't know what's going on with my jumper, but let's do it. So, busy day. It's about 6 o'clock. We're running on empty, so we definitely need to get some fuel. Otherwise, we're gonna break down. Our car's gonna definitely break down. But I think we've got enough to get to the service station in a couple kilometers. So, anyways, let's dive into it. I really want to talk about exams this episode, and in particular in regards to failing exams, because recently we found out that we missed out on our GSSE, which is a general surgical sciences exam. It's the exam that you need to pass in order to get into surgery and do all that sort of stuff. So yeah, we missed out by a grand total of 1%, which is very fun. It's very exciting. I'm so glad that I failed by 1%. It's thrilling. And I found out over my recent holidays, which was great news. Do you know what I mean? So anyways, we're going to have to retake that. It didn't cost that much, just a measly $5,000, which is easy. Just it's really fun to spend that and then not pass. So that's my fault. I probably should have done a bit better, but I guess the main thing is that you often can beat yourself up when it gets to these exams, things. I forgot how to say the word things, which is good, but yeah, I think a lot of people can beat themselves up, can really like take it to heart rather than turn the exam, situation, failing the exam into a good thing. And I think that's the way you should do it. Otherwise, it's a missed opportunity. I mean, if you just look at it and like sulk and like think, well, why am I like not good at this? Like I'm terrible, and it's real like negative vibes. And I think that's a missed opportunity. On the other side, I think what you can use that exam for is really a good chance to clarify what you know and what you don't know, and really use that to accelerate your knowledge. Do you know what I mean? So and it's probably because like if I did pass it, I probably wouldn't be having this same situation. But you need to fail at some things, You can't just go out and, I don't know, smash everything that you do and nail it and get 100% and whatnot. So yeah, I still think that you need to fail at some points in your career, and it's just different because a lot of people in the medical profession, a lot of doctors in particular, are very like type A personalities, very like, I need to get everything correct and do everything perfectly, and if I don't, then it's like almost the end of the world. And a lot of people like wouldn't have failed before in their life. So it's getting used to that feeling of not actually, I don't know, getting everything like your own way. And it can be like a little bit different to get used to, especially as that very high achieving sort of person, which a lot of us are. And I mean, I don't know. I mean, in high school, I was always like, good at, doing exams and getting good marks and everything like that. And I think you just have to set foot one day into university to realize how much smarter and how much better everyone else is. But that's fine. Like, I know that I'm not going to spend 24/7 trying to study or trying to learn a concept, but I'll smash other areas and get really good at those in order to make up for, I don't know, just not going to study for like every hour and every minute of my day. And I'd rather do the reps in person and focus on building relationships and understanding my downsides, but then also like working really hard to improve those. So yeah, I think you just realize what you bring to the table and what you can get really good at, and what you're not so good at. So a lot of people would be like, well, I'm really good at procedures and I'll just get really, really good at procedures. And then other people will be like, well, I'll get really good at studying for exams and getting the best marks and being the highest achiever in that respect. And yeah, I don't know. I feel like we're getting a bit sidetracked, but I guess the main thing I'm trying to say is that if you fail an exam, it's not the end of the world. It's fine. You actually can use it as a learning opportunity rather than time to look at yourself and think, well, I'm terrible at this and blah and blah. So don't do that. Just turn it on its head and actually use it as a learning opportunity. Agree, it's a bad situation. If I had the option of passing versus failing, I'd choose passing 100% of the time. However, I think you fail for a reason, and you need to like really analyze those situations, because yeah, it's like I just bring it back to like sort of like, you know, when you study for like a maths exam, and if you get a question wrong, the only reason you got a question wrong in maths is not because the teacher thought that you didn't deserve it, or the other person's answer was better, or maybe you could have said a bit more or whatnot. No, you failed that question. You didn't get that question wrong because you didn't understand the concepts, and that's why you didn't do the right steps, and that's why you didn't get the right answer. Simple as that. So you are forced to say, well, what do I need to do in order to get the question right? And what's the concept that I didn't understand that I should have? And yeah, all those sorts of things. So I think it's really like clear cut, and a lot of us maybe take it a bit too personally if like something doesn't go their way, or are not doing like a good job at passing an exam or whatnot. And maybe you just need to look and say, well, hey, I didn't do well at this. Why didn't I do well at that? And how do I actually improve it? And really say what you did and what you didn't do, and be honest with yourself, because that's sometimes the downfall for those people, is that they may actually not look too closely and not hyper analyze the situation, and then they're just left with repeating that same mistake, which is arguably the worst. You don't want to do that. If you had the opportunity to make the mistake and then learn from it and then become like a really good, a better version of yourself after that, then that's the best thing. So yeah, I'd strongly encourage you to take that mindset rather than the mindset of, I failed, let's not think about it and move on. But yeah, I don't know. I think like I'm really clear on what I need to do well and better at in order to pass that exam. So there's a few different sittings each year, and you just need to pick one, get ready for it. I think I was umming and ahhing during the middle of the year after I found out the result what to do, and I've settled on the fact that I probably need to just do it in my year off and get it right. I'm more inclined to spend heaps more time to do it, and rather than try to make it work and really grind myself out during work time when I'm trying to focus on this term, because this is in an area that I want to do, and then I want to get good at operating and clinical stuff. So sure, I need to do the exam, no questions about it, but I might use it while I might do it when I'm not in clinical work. So next year I'm going to take a year off and do a bit more research rather than clinical stuff, and yeah, I'll sit my exam in there, which will be fun. So yeah, see how it goes. What else has been happening? I don't know. We had a few referrals today, so it's been interesting. You know, every day, like when it's like not going like that busy, there's not a lot on, and then it just ends up being like there's so many other stuff that just fills the space. So it's always like busy, do you know? And almost didn't get fuel. Wow. Good thing we remembered. Otherwise, I genuinely think our car would have broken down. There's a cheeky Nando's there. Should we get Nando's? Oh! We'll be right back. All right. It's time we get out of here. We are refueled and ready to go. So I think we were just capping off that we need to, stay strong when we fail exams. That's a really good message. And fail anything, or do like have mistakes or anything. Even like there's even like a lot of things that happen, and you can almost put like too high standards on yourself and really like get yourself down, especially when something doesn't work out. And I mean, I don't know. I sometimes do it as well. I'm not like immune to this, but you maybe can be like overconfident, or not even overconfident. You just like think you know the right answer, and then you make a mistake, or it's like you just miss something and you feel like you're the worst person in the world and you shouldn't be doing it, or whatnot. I think especially when in medicine you're dealing with a patient rather than an object, or you're not really dealing with a condition, you're dealing with like a real life person. Do you know what I mean? So you hold yourself to such high standards, which is a good thing, because you should value what that patient wants and what they are dealing with or going through, and their symptoms, etc. So if you maybe don't take it seriously enough, then you can overlook things, and that can have like drastic consequences, which is terrible for like the patient and everything like that. So it's a fine balance, but I guess what I'm trying to say is that as doctors and, you know, health professionals, you can almost take it too hard sometimes and be too hard on yourself, and that can work against your favor, and it can have like negative outcomes because you're like too stressed, or you're too overwhelmed, or too anxious. And yeah, you see time and time again with people, they get burnt out, they get absolutely destroyed because they're so focused and so like hyper stimulated. They don't get a break from work, and they really just get really worn down. So having separation, having that idea of giving yourself a little bit of slack, still wanting to do the best for yourself and for your patients, of course, but yeah, not always expecting perfection from yourself is a good thing, and understanding that there will be times where maybe you can do a slightly different decision, or maybe you could have done this slightly differently. Otherwise, what's the point? You're not going to be the perfect doctor. You're not going to be the perfect practitioner right out of the gate. That's why you are a junior doctor. That's why you have colleagues, senior colleagues. That's why you run past plans by them, because they've been there, done that for years and years. So it's, as long as you understand that your runway is like, you have so much runway left, you'll be a bit easier on yourself, and you won't actually take it so personally, so that it becomes like detrimental to your like health and well-being, if you know what I mean. But I think these things happen all the time, and I guess going back to like actual practical things that you can do to figure out why you actually didn't do well at something or could have done a bit better. I think, you know, look at how you prepared for that exam, look at what steps you did, and really break it down into repeatable situations. So I look at it like, well, I probably could have spent like way more time studying and earlier like studying earlier, and I spent too much time like working out maybe. Well, actually, no, I knew how I wanted to study. I just didn't start early enough, and I was a bit too naive. So I only gave myself like a 2-month runway, when I probably should have given myself at least a 4 or 6-month runway. And when I was talking to other people, that's what they did, and I think that really put the pressure on early, like when I had so much to learn with not that much time, and I was a little bit like, well, sort of cutting it a bit fine. And I remember walking out of the exam like, oh, it is touch and go, real touch and go. So yeah. And like understanding that like there will be times where you won't be able to physically do any study because you're so tired and you actually just need to sleep and recover. I mean, there'd be days where I would start at say like 7:30 and finish at 8:30, 9 o'clock. And I mean, if you factor in like the time if I left work at 9 o'clock and then I got home, say at like 9:30, I'd eat dinner, that's 10 o'clock. Then I would need to be up at, say, let's say 6:30, 6 o'clock the next day, if I have a sleep in. That's like 8 hours. I probably have an hour maybe to study. And I mean, you probably need that hour, you know, for sanity more so than ever, rather than, you know, actually more work, because that's going to contribute to burnout. So understanding that you'll have days where you actually can't do anything and you need to take the time off to recuperate and actually recover and restore your energy. And then having days where, well, you might have a half day and then you have like 8 hours of study time where you could utilize. So yeah, it's not going to be a regular situation where you study 1 hour each day for every single day. You might have a day where you do 4 hours and then 2 days where you do nothing. And having the flexibility to have a longer runway in terms of what you need to get done. And I think I swapped to that a little bit later in the track, where I was focused on weekly outcomes rather than daily outcomes. And I think that takes a lot of the pressure off, because sure, you have study to do, but you also have a job at the end of the day. And if there are sick inpatients or urgent jobs to do at the hospital, that's your primary responsibility. The study is a secondary thing. So having the awareness and the understanding that these patients in hospital take priority, and they will always take priority until you leave hospital and hand over to another person. So you can't just sacrifice that for your study, which is a good thing to remember. Wow, I am very hungry. I think it's always tough after a weekend when you're like, you know, you can just eat whenever, to going to work where I really don't bring lunch. I don't know. I've always felt like I have too much to do. That's a big yawn. That is a big yawn. But I always find like I have too much to do, and I've probably spoken about this before, but I'd rather just have like coffee and like a muesli bar than anything else. I need to drink more water though. That's one thing I'm not doing that well of, is not drinking enough water. So drink more water, maybe have a few more snacks at work. Could keep my energy levels good, because right now I'm like, all I can think about is food, and it's 6:30 and I haven't eaten anything the whole day apart from a coffee, and well, a couple coffees and then a muesli bar. Yeah, I did eat a muesli bar halfway through the day. Yeah, I think practically having longer, more realistic outcomes for combining study with work is certainly an easier way to do it. And I think that way you actually just fit in your real life, you know, when it comes to study. Because I mean, obviously, you know, I'm not going to be able to take, like if I have exams in the future, I'm not going to be able to take time off from work, and like I'm just going to have to make it work when I'm doing a full-time job. And yeah, like It's tricky, of course, because like you want to do really well at your full-time job and just study. Otherwise, you sacrifice learning about patients and operations and all that stuff. But if you have a bit of time and you're able to just focus on like the work for a bit, and you still have time up your sleeve to do the exams at some other point down the track, then I don't think that's a bad idea. And it just improves your runway, improves your longevity. So yeah, we'll do that. We'll do those exams next year, have a bit more time, hopefully smash them out, and don't have to ever think about them ever again, which is good. But yeah, what else has been happening? I think we've finally got this stuff on like the podcast formats, which is really good. So on both Apple Podcasts and Spotify, we have both the Doctor's Diary, and also the Doctor's Journey podcast on it, which is super exciting. It took me ages to get around to do it and make it a regular thing, and I didn't want to just start it and then, not do it. So yeah, that's exciting that we finally got that up and running, which is cool. And yeah, I don't know. It's been really fun. Like, we've just been leveling up heaps at work, and it's kind of satisfying when you see things for the first time and you get really good at them, and then you see it for a second time. You already have a framework to base your understanding and your decision making off. And I don't know, I think that going into a specialty and really like delving down into the nitty gritty, you just it's a satisfying thing, rather than I don't know, just being like more of a generalist. But other people will have different points of view about medicine and how to do it, and what they want out of it, and what type of doctor they want to be. But I'd rather get good at one thing, get hyper specialized, really good at it. And then I think there's something in just really specializing in an area and becoming like the go-to person for it. I remember years ago, like my stepdad would tell me like, this guy that he used to work with, like he used to be like an orthodontist, and then there was some like guy who I actually did work experience with, an oral and maxillofacial surgeon. It was super niched in terms of the specialty that, like, I mean, MaxFax is a insanely niche specialty in itself, but the areas in which he could operate and what skills he had is, was even more niche. And in the entire world, he'd go to conferences and he was the go-to person for a particular type of procedure or whatever. And I think there's something in that, like it's pretty cool. And I don't know, maybe some people would get bored of something like that if you're just doing the one thing over and over again, which is understandable. So maybe you niche down, but you don't go hyper niche and just do one procedure. Maybe you do like, you still niche and you specialize and you focus in an area of a specialty, but maybe it's like you still vary up your practice and you still do some general stuff from time to time, which is pretty good. I mean, the way medicine works is like you get to the point in the future where, I guess, if you are lucky enough to specialize in an area and get into private practice, you could sort of just see and see patients who you want to see and are comfortable with seeing. And if you're not comfortable, then you just refer on. And I was talking to one of the bosses the other day who, like, there's a procedure that happens in the public hospital that we do to, work out if someone has prostate cancer or not. You do a biopsy, but if they had got that same referral in the private system, then they would most likely just refer on and work out, if they need procedure A or B, and get one of the other people to sort it out, because they just really don't do that procedure as often as they can, and their area of interest is somewhere else, and they can't do everything. At the end of the day, they can't do everything. So having an area of focus and making that your go-to you know, your go-to thing. And when other people know that that's your go-to area, then I think you just accelerate more and more, and you get super good at stuff. And it's satisfying. It's like leveling up something and then going to the next level and adding on all these like different layers of complexity that only you could do, because only you understand all that. And then there would be everyone in that area who would understand it, who are also in that like same field of niching down, and you're talking about cool innovations and procedures and techniques. And yeah, it's all very exciting. I mean, everyone's going to look at it slightly differently, but yeah, I don't even know how we got onto this topic, to be honest, but we're definitely delirious from our lack of food, lack of energy. We need to be refueled, definitely, most definitely. I'll tell you what I have been doing actually, which is actually insane. It's actually insane in terms of the benefits it's been giving me. I've been doing my yoga in the morning, which is I'm actually pretty proud of like my consistency. Like I've been doing it for a good week now, and obviously that's just a drop in the ocean, of course. You could keep doing it for ages and ages to get any real benefits. But I used to do it ages ago, and you know, I stopped and, you know, started again and then stopped, and I forgot how good it was to have that calming and peaceful like energy before I started the day. I feel like so often I'm pinballing around in the day in the hospital, answering phone calls, doing A, B, and C, sorting out this referral, that referral. I mean, there's so many different things that I have to like contemplate and deal with, that having a time where it's just a focus on like something as simple as just breathing and like holding a pose is like, I don't know, the simplest thing ever. And it just brings like so much clarity. So, I mean, whatever it is, like it doesn't even have to be yoga. Like just pick something where you get to completely focus on that thing and there's nothing else that will like deter you. And I don't know, I think that's like a really strong balance that you can bring when there's so much other stuff, so much noise going on. And yeah, medicine's just one of those specialties. You could spend 24/7 working on something, getting good, learning, and you would still at the end of the day, at the end of working 24/7 for a whole year or 2 years or 5 years, still have stuff to learn. And that's fine. But if that's the case, then why not enjoy it and improve your longevity, etc. So something that works for me is just spending 15 to 20, maybe I might increase it as well. I'd like to go up to like more 30-minute sort of sessions where I really take an extended time to chill out and hold poses and get really good at it. So yeah, that's where I'm at the moment, which is really good. Hopefully I keep it up and like keep maintaining that like consistency with it, because I think the benefits are just like ridiculous. Like they're so good. I like, you know, after the session of like of doing it, you have like such clarity for the whole day, and you're like, you've done like a little bit of exercise, if you could call it, and you do get like a little sweat on and stuff. But so find whatever that thing is for you and go do it and keep doing it, so you don't have that feeling of oh, I'm completely and utterly absorbed by this job and or this study or this profession or whatever this thing is, even if it isn't medicine. And then you actually get to bring some balance to everything. You need to work, of course. You need to like do really like hard work and everything, but also have the ability to take a rain check and chill out and focus on other stuff that's important in life. Anyways, we've made it home, so we might leave it there. I'll catch you guys next time. And hopefully we've passed our exam next time. But it might be a while. I'll keep you in the loop. Bye.